AI will destroy humanity. We had nuclear bombs, which could potentially destroy civilization, obviously. We have AI, which could destroy civilization. We have global warming, which could destroy civilization, or at least severely disrupt civilization. Digital intelligence will exceed biological intelligence by a substantial margin. It's obvious. We're not paying attention. We worry more about what name somebody called someone else than whether AI will destroy humanity. That's insane. We're like children in a playground. Humanity really is not evolved to think of existential threats in general. We're evolved to think about things that are very close to us, near term, to be upset with other humans, and not to really think about things that could destroy humanity as a whole.
Excuse me, how could AI destroy civilization?
You know, it would be something the same way that humans destroyed the habitat of primates. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but we might be relegated to a small corner of the world. When Homo sapiens became much smarter than other primates, it pushed all the other ones into small habitats. They're just in the way.
Couldn't AI, even in this moment, just with the technology that we have before us, be used in some fairly destructive ways?
You can make a swarm of assassin drones for very little money by just taking the Face ID chip that's used in cell phones and having a small explosive charge and a standard drone, and have them just do a grid sweep of the building until they find the person they're looking for, ram into them and explode. You can do that right now. No new technology is needed. Right now. Probably a bigger risk than being hunted down by a drone is that AI would be used to make incredibly effective propaganda. That would not seem like propaganda.
So these are deep fakes.
Yeah, influence the direction of society, influence elections. Artificial intelligence just hones the message, looks at the feedback, makes this message slightly better. Within milliseconds, it can adapt its message and shift and react to news. And there's so many social media accounts out there that are not people. Like, how do you know it's a person, not a person?
One reason that regulators and others are a little bit in denial about this is the speed, the pace of change. What is the consequence of that speed of change?
The way in which a regulation is put in place is slow and linear,
right?
And we are facing an exponential threat. And if you have a linear response to an exponential threat, it's quite likely the exponential threat will win.
I think there's a tremendous amount of investment going on in AI. Where there's a lack of investment is in AI safety, and there should be, in my view, a government agency that oversees anything related to AI to confirm that it does not represent a public safety risk. Just as there is a regulatory authority there's like the Food and Drug Administration, there's NHTSA for automotive safety, there's the FAA for aircraft safety. We generally come to the conclusion that it is important to have a government referee or a referee that is serving the public interest in ensuring that things are safe when there's a potential danger to the public. I would argue that AI is unequivocally something that has potential to be dangerous to the public, and therefore should have a regulatory agency, just as other things that are dangerous to the public have a regulatory agency. But let me tell you, the problem with this is that the government moves very slowly. Usually the way a regulatory agency comes into being is that something terrible happens. There's a huge public outcry, and years after that, there's a regulatory agency or a rule put in place. Take something like seat belts. It was known for, I don't know, a decade or more that seat belts would have a massive impact on safety and save so many lives and serious injuries. And the car industry fought the requirement to put seatbelts in tooth and nail. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people probably died because of that. And they said people wouldn't buy cars if they had seatbelts, which is obviously absurd.
AI is a fundamental existential risk for human civilization. And I don't think people fully appreciate that.
I'm really very close to the cutting edge in AI,
and it scares the hell out of me.
Pay close attention to the development of artificial intelligence. I think we need to just be very careful in how we adopt artificial intelligence, and to make sure that researchers don't get carried away. Because sometimes what happens is a scientist can get so engrossed in their work, they don't necessarily realize the ramifications of what they're doing. I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI.
If humanity collectively decides that creating digital superintelligence is the right move, then we should do so very, very carefully. This is the most important thing that we could possibly do. I think the danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads, by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to just build nuclear warheads if they want. That would be insane. And mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes.
Humanity really is not evolved to think of existential threats in general. We're evolved to think about things that are very close to us, near term, to be upset with other humans, and not to really to think about things that could destroy humanity as a whole. But then in recent decades, just really in the last century, we had nuclear bombs, which could potentially destroy civilization, obviously. We have AI, which could destroy civilization. We have global warming, which could destroy civilization, or at least severely disrupt civilization.
The danger is going to be more humans using it against each other, I think, most likely. That'll be the danger. Yeah.
You know, it would be something the same way that humans destroyed the habitat of primates. When Homo sapiens became much smarter than other primates, it pushed all the other ones into small habitats. They're just in the way. You can make a swarm of assassin drones for very little money by just taking the Face ID chip that's used in cell phones and having a small explosive charge and a standard drone, and have them just do a grid sweep of the building until they find the person they're looking for, ram into them and explode. You can do that right now. No new technology is needed. Right now.
This is what the future will be. Okay. Is autonomous drone warfare. I can't believe I'm saying this because this is like dangerous, but it's simply what will occur is sort of drones locally being autonomous but I think we still want to retain sort of the authority to damage or destroy anything that isn't an autonomous drone.
It's amazing how people can't differentiate between, say, the narrow AI that allows a car to figure out what a lane line is and navigate streets versus general intelligence. Like, these are just very different things. Like, your toaster and your computer are both machines, but one's much more sophisticated than another. To me, right now, this seems game, set, match. If you assume any rate of advancement in AI, we will be left behind by a lot. Even the benign situation, if you have if you have ultra-intelligent AI, we would be, so far below them in intelligence that it would be like, a pet.
The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like, a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. If you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with. And then how do we ensure that the future is going to be the future that we want, that we still like? I am concerned about certain directions that AI could take that would be not good for the future. I think it'd be fair to say that not all AI futures are benign, not all.
Okay.
And so if you have something, if we create some digital superintelligence that exceeds us in every way by a lot,
it's very important that that be benign. It's definitely going to be outside of human control. The thing that's going to be tricky here is that it's going to be very tempting to use AI as a weapon. It's going to be very tempting. In fact, it will be used as a weapon. It's difficult. I mean, it's called the singularity because it's difficult to predict exactly what future that might be. Except I don't know a lot of people who love the idea of living under a despot. Mm-hmm. I don't think people generally choose to live in a democracy over a dictatorship. It's not about competing. It's really just about trying to increase the probability that the future will be good. That's all. Mm-hmm. So if this time frame is not relevant to AI, you can't take 10 years from the point at which it's dangerous. It's too late.